All right, let's jump right in.
Okay.
Today, we're diving deep into ancient Babylon.
Really fascinating civilization.
Oh, yeah, super influential.
Definitely.
We're going to uncover their beliefs, practices, even those epic stories that really shaped their world. And, see if maybe we can learn a thing or two from them today.
Right. Yeah. Like, how did they view the cosmos? How did they see their place in it all?
Exactly.
And what can we learn from that? It's going to be fun.
We've got some really cool sources lined up for this deep dive,
Oh, for sure.
including their creation myth, the Enuma Elish.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
We'll also get into those iconic ziggurats
Can't forget those impressive structures.
and even take a peek at their epic festivals.
Their festivals were a huge part of their culture.
So much to uncover.
It's amazing what we can figure out about their worldview just from these sources.
Right.
Like, it wasn't just about gods and goddesses.
Yeah, it's deeper than that.
It was like their beliefs were woven into, every part of their lives. From laws to their understanding of, like, the whole universe.
It all ties together, right?
Totally.
So let's start with, like, their pantheon of gods.
Okay.
It was, kind of like a divine soap opera.
I like that. A soap
With
opera.
a whole cast of characters, each with their own, like, dramas and domains.
Lots of drama, yeah.
But at the top, you had Marduk, the big guy, the patron god of Babylon.
Right. Marduk, he was associated with, well, a lot.
Yeah.
Creation, justice, even magic.
Wow, he was a busy god.
But, his rise to power, it wasn't easy.
Really?
Yeah, he had to earn it.
Interesting.
And that's where the Enuma Elish comes in.
Ah, yes, their creation myth.
Exactly.
I've heard it's quite a story.
It really is. Picture this. Marduk going head-to-head with Tiamat.
Tiamat.
Yeah, this primordial goddess of chaos. In a cosmic battle, like for ultimate power.
Sounds intense.
It is a real showdown, and you know who comes out on top?
Marduk.
Marduk, yep.
Of course.
But it's more than just, brute force.
Right.
This victory, it symbolizes the triumph of order over chaos.
Order over chaos, that's a big theme.
It's huge. It was central to their whole worldview.
So it wasn't just like a philosophical idea.
No, not all.
It had real implications for, like, how they lived their lives.
Exactly. They believed that everything had its place.
Like ordained by the gods.
Yes, divinely ordained order.
Wow.
Essential for maintaining balance and harmony in, well, everything, both earthly and cosmic.
You can see how that belief would be reflected in their society.
Oh, absolutely.
Their kings, they got their legitimacy from this whole idea of divine order.
Right. It's like Marduk's victory set the stage for a well-structured society.
It's fascinating.
And to reinforce this idea, they built these incredible structures.
You're talking about the ziggurats.
The ziggurats, yeah. Imagine these massive stepped pyramids.
Oh, I've seen pictures. They're huge.
Towering over the city, reaching for the heavens.
The most famous one was...
Etemenanki, dedicated to, you guessed it, Marduk.
Of course, Marduk. Always Marduk.
Some scholars think it might have even inspired, the Tower of Babel story.
Wow, that's amazing.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
They weren't just, like, impressive feat of engineering, though.
No, they were symbols, powerful symbols.
Ah,
The connection between heaven and earth.
I can see that.
Priests, kings, they would ascend these ziggurats to
Nice.
commune with the gods.
Talk about a power move.
Right. You can almost feel the weight of their beliefs when you imagine, the scale of these structures.
It's like they were physically embodying that connection to the divine.
Exactly.
But it wasn't just grand structures, right?
No,
They had these elaborate festivals, too,
they did. Oh, yeah. Big celebration.
to connect with the gods.
Among other things.
Yeah.
Well, one of the most important was the Akitu festival, their New Year's celebration.
Oh, party.
Definitely a party. Think parades, rituals, sacrifices, and, lots of feasting.
Sounds fun.
It was, but it wasn't just about having a good time. The Akitu festival, it was crucial for maintaining balance, both divine and earthly realms.
And I've heard there was this really dramatic ritual
Oh, yeah.
involving the king.
During the festival, the king, he would symbolically die and be reborn.
Whoa, that's intense.
It was a powerful ritual mirroring the cyclical nature of time.
And that whole struggle between order and chaos.
Exactly, like we were talking about before.
So it was a way to ensure the reign of order,
Yes, in the cosmos and in their society,
constantly reaffirming that connection.
between the divine and the earthly.
I see.
Speaking of reaffirming their beliefs,
Yeah.
let's talk about the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Ah, yes, the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest surviving works of literature, right?
That's right. And it gives us so much insight into, their worldview.
It's packed with their beliefs and values.
Oh, for sure.
So think of it this way. You're holding a clay tablet, right?
Okay.
Inscribed with a story that's been passed down, like, for centuries.
Wow.
It's the tale of Gilgamesh, this hero king.
Powerful king.
He embarks on a quest for immortality.
Classic quest.
He encounters gods, monsters, like all sorts of things.
And a lot of wisdom along the way.
Sounds like a classic hero's journey.
It is, but with a Babylonian twist.
I like it.
What kind of insights can we get from this epic tale?
Well, for one thing, it gives us a glimpse into their views on, like, death and the afterlife.
Right. Big questions.
And the epic, it depicts the afterlife as this, like, shadowy underworld.
The House of Dust, they called it.
The House of Dust. Not exactly paradise.
Not a place you'd want to rush to.
No, definitely not.
It wasn't a place of, like, punishment.
More like a realm of shadows.
Yeah, and silence.
So they had kind of a bleak view of what happened after death.
It seems that way.
But even though death was, like, inevitable, Gilgamesh's journey, it shows us something else, too.
What's that?
The power of leaving a legacy.
Ah, yes, that's a key theme.
He learns that true immortality, it doesn't come from escaping death,
Oh.
but from making a lasting impact on the world.
Exactly. A profound realization.
It suggests that they recognize the limits of human existence.
Yeah.
But they still wanted to find meaning and purpose.
Within those limitations, right?
Exactly.
And that brings us to another theme in the epic.
Okay.
The relationship between humans and the gods.
Complicated relationship.
Oh, for sure. It was filled with interactions, between mortals and deities.
Yeah.
It's clear the gods, they hold immense power.
Of course.
But it's not always, harmonious.
Like Gilgamesh.
Yeah, he's a good example.
Well, what'd he do?
He's got this rebellious streak when it comes to the gods.
Interesting.
He challenges them, questions their decisions, even fights them.
Wow, brave guy.
It suggests that, the Babylonians didn't see humans as just like passive subjects of the divine.
So they had free will.
In a way, yes, they had agency, they could make choices.
And those choices had consequences.
Exactly.
It's like they were trying to figure out their place in the universe.
Right, navigating this complex relationship between, fate and free will.
That's deep stuff.
And that's just the beginning.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. We'll delve even deeper into the Epic of Gilgamesh in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait.
It's going to be good.
Okay, so we were talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh and how it gives us this, like, unique look into how the Babylonians saw the world.
It's really fascinating.
And we were discussing how it, shows the relationship between humans and the gods.
Which was
definitely not always easy.
No, not always sunshine and rainbows, that's for sure.
Definitely not.
It wasn't just about, like, reverence and obedience.
Oh.
It shows us they really thought about human agency, like questioning the divine.
And
facing the consequences, of course.
Yeah. And one consequence Gilgamesh faces is, realizing he's not going to live forever.
Right.
He's on this huge quest for immortality, but, like, he has to confront death.
It's a big theme in the story.
So what did the Babylonians actually believe happened after death?
Well, the Epic of Gilgamesh shows the afterlife as this, like, shadowy underworld called the House of Dust.
House of Dust, huh?
It wasn't really a paradise or even a place of punishment, more like, a realm of shadows and silence.
Sounds kind of gloomy.
Yeah, it suggests a pretty, bleak view of what happened after you died.
So not exactly somewhere you'd want to go.
Yep.
But even though death was, like, a given Gilgamesh's journey,
Yeah.
it shows us something else they thought was important.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
The power of leaving a legacy.
Ah, yeah, that's huge in the epic.
He learns that being immortal isn't about escaping death,
Right.
but about, like, making a real impact on the world, something that lasts.
It's a pretty profound realization.
It really is.
And it shows how much they valued, human achievement.
They did achieve some amazing things.
They did. They built cities, created these complex laws.
Yeah.
They made so many advancements in, like, math and astronomy.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say they were really advanced scientifically.
They were, for their time, very advanced.
It's easy to get caught up in the myths and rituals
Right.
and forget that.
But they were doing real science
Yeah, like their math system.
based on the number 60.
Oh, wow. So like
60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour.
that comes from them.
Yep, directly from Babylonian math.
That's incredible.
They also did a lot of astronomy, really detailed tracking of the stars and planets.
So it wasn't just about religious beliefs. It was like Scientific curiosity, too.
Exactly. But, their knowledge of astronomy was really tied to their religious beliefs.
Oh, so?
They believed the heavens, held divine messages.
Oh,
Like the movements of the stars and planets could reveal what the gods wanted,
and
even tell the future.
oh, right, like their divination practices.
Yes, they were all about interpreting signs and omens.
They had a whole system for it, didn't they?
They did, called extispecie,
Yeah.
involved examining the livers of sacrificed animals.
That's a little,
Different.
yeah, a little different from how we do things now.
But it was serious business for them, trying to understand the messages from the gods.
Right. And they also used astrology.
Oh, yeah, big time. Meticulously charting the positions of celestial bodies to, figure out what it all meant.
And they had, like, special priests for this, too.
They did. Experts in interpreting these signs and omens.
Wow, so they were really trying to find guidance.
From everywhere, the heavens, the earthly realm, all of it.
It makes sense. They wanted to understand what the gods wanted.
And how to navigate, the uncertainty of life.
I guess that's something we all try to do.
In a way, yeah.
And you can see this desire for, like, order and understanding in their laws, too.
Oh, absolutely. They had a very sophisticated code of laws.
The Code of Hammurabi, right?
That's the one of the oldest we know of.
It's inscribed on a stele.
A stele, yeah, a big stone slab.
Gives us a real look into their values.
And their commitment to justice.
Some of their laws were surprisingly progressive.
They were. For their time, for example, they had laws protecting women's rights.
Oh, like what?
Like the right to own property and even to initiate divorce.
That's pretty amazing for, such an ancient society.
It is. It challenges those assumptions we have about, ancient cultures being totally patriarchal.
Yeah, it shows how complex they really were.
Exactly. But the main thing about the Code of Hammurabi is it shows how important they thought order and justice were.
Like a legal version of that cosmic order.
Exactly. It's like everything they did.
Their architecture, their laws.
Their science, all connected.
It's like a tapestry.
I like that. A tapestry.
Woven from their beliefs and their desire to understand and, like, shape the world.
A beautiful way to put it.
And it shows how rich and complex their civilization was.
They were so much more than just, builders and interpreters of omens.
Right.
They were innovators, thinkers, artists, lawmakers.
Multifaceted people.
And they definitely left their mark on history.
Speaking of innovators, I'm curious about their technology.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, did they invent anything we might find interesting today?
Well, think about where they lived. Mesopotamia,
Okay.
often called the cradle of civilization.
Right.
But it was also a really tough environment.
How so?
Scorching hot summers and these unpredictable floods.
So they had to be resourceful.
Oh, yeah. To survive there, they had to come up with some clever solutions.
They couldn't just, like, pray for good weather.
No, they needed practical solutions.
Like what?
Well, one of their most impressive innovations was their irrigation system.
Oh, interesting.
They built this whole network of canals and levees to control the water from the Tigris and Euphrates rivers.
So they could, like, farm.
Exactly. And it made their land incredibly fertile.
Wow. So they were, like, masters of water management.
They had to be. It was essential for their survival.
And their prosperity.
Right. And they also made big advances in metallurgy.
Working with, like,
Bronze and iron to make tools, weapons, even jewelry.
it's amazing what they accomplished.
It is. They didn't just survive, they thrived.
Really challenging environment.
It shows how resilient and creative they were.
And it's cool how they combine these practical advancements with their beliefs.
Oh, yeah. They saw their achievements as a reflection of that cosmic order.
So it wasn't about, like, conquering nature.
No.
It was more about working with, using their knowledge and skills to build a society that reflected that divine order they believed in.
Exactly. And that brings us back to what we've been exploring.
Their worldview.
Yes, a worldview that was completely intertwined with their beliefs, their practices, and their achievements.
It's a worldview that still fascinates us today.
It does.
It shows how much we all want meaning
And order.
and a connection to something bigger than ourselves.
Those are universal desires.
But before we wrap up our Babylonian adventure, there's one more thing we should talk about.
Okay, what's that?
Their music.
Ah, yes, music, a vital part of Babylonian life.
So we've talked about their achievements in, math and astronomy and law.
Right.
But what can we learn from how they approached music?
Well, for them, music wasn't just about making nice sounds.
It was deeper than that.
Much deeper. It was about creating order and harmony.
Like literally?
Literally, remember that idea of cosmic order?
Yeah.
They believed music played a role in maintaining that balance.
So it wasn't just entertainment.
No.
It was about aligning themselves with, like, the rhythms of the universe?
Exactly. They thought music could influence the divine realm,
Interesting.
appease the gods, ensure stability in their world.
You can see this in how they use music in ceremonies and festivals.
Oh yeah, big time. Music was a key part of those rituals.
But what about their everyday lives?
Music was everywhere. They had professional musicians who played at court,
Okay.
and ordinary people would play music at home in their communities.
I can imagine, like, gatherings with friends and family.
Yes, singing songs, telling stories with the sounds of lyres and drums.
It sounds so vibrant.
It was. Music was woven into their daily lives.
What kind of instruments did they have?
Well, we know from, archaeology and their art
Yeah.
that they had stringed instruments like lyres and harps,
Okay.
wind instruments like flutes and pipes, and percussion like drums and cymbals.
Wow, a pretty diverse range.
They did.
I'm curious, though. Do we have any idea what their music actually sounded like?
Sadly, no recordings exist.
Ah, man.
But we can get some clues from their instruments, the scales they used, and, descriptions in their writing.
So what do you think it sounded like?
Most likely, their music was modal.
Modal?
It means it focused more on melody and rhythm,
Rather than...
harmony like we're used to today.
So pretty different from what we hear now.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would have had its own unique sound reflecting their culture and beliefs.
It's fun to imagine those ancient melodies.
Echoing through the streets of Babylon.
But even though we can't hear it directly,
Right.
we can still appreciate how important music was to them.
Oh.
It wasn't just a hobby. It was a way to connect with the divine
To express themselves.
and to create a sense of community.
And that's something that still resonates with us today.
Music still has that power, doesn't it?
It does, to move us, connect us, transport us to different times and places.
It reminds us that even though there are so many differences between us and them,
Across time and cultures.
there are some human experiences that are, like, universal.
For sure.
And music is one of those things that bridges the gap.
Absolutely. It's a testament to human creativity.
And how we try to understand our place in the world.
Well said.
And on that note,
Yeah.
I think it's time to move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll explore Babylonian music in more detail.
I'm ready.
Stay tuned, everyone, as we keep uncovering the fascinating world of this ancient civilization. All right, welcome back to our final dive into the world of the Babylonians.
It's been a journey.
It really has. We've been talking about their beliefs, those epic tales, their amazing innovations, and their desire to understand the cosmos.
And their place in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all connected.
And we've seen how music wasn't just like entertainment for them.
No, not at all.
It was like a vital part of their rituals and gatherings.
In personal expression.
And, that connection to music.
It's not just a Babylonian thing.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere, right?
Throughout history, music, it's been
Yeah.
this way to, express emotions, tell stories.
Create community.
It's a universal language.
It really is. It's like music just taps into something fundamental about being human.
I think so.
But let's bring it back to the Babylonians for a sec.
Okay.
We've talked about their achievements in, math and astronomy and law.
Right, they were impressive.
But what can we learn from, like, their approach to music specifically?
Well, they didn't see music as just creating pleasing sounds.
It was more than that.
Much more. It was about creating order and harmony.
Oh, wait, like literally.
Yeah, literally. Remember that concept of cosmic order we keep coming back to? They believed music actually played a role in maintaining that balance.
So not just entertainment.
Nope.
It was about, like, aligning themselves with the rhythms of the cosmos.
Exactly. They thought music could influence the divine realm.
Interesting.
Like appease the gods, keep their world stable.
Makes sense why they'd use music in those ceremonies and festivals then.
Oh yeah, music was essential for those rituals.
But what about their everyday lives?
Music was everywhere.
Really?
They had professional musicians at court, sure,
Right.
but ordinary people would play music in their homes, their communities.
Like just hanging out, making music.
Exactly. Imagine, gatherings with friends and family,
Sharing stories.
singing songs, accompanied by lyres and drums.
I can almost hear it.
Must have been amazing.
So what kind of instruments do they actually have?
Well, based on what we found, archaeologically and from their art,
Yeah.
they had a pretty good variety.
Like-
Stringed instruments like lyres and harps,
Okay.
wind instruments, flutes and pipes, and percussion like drums and cymbals.
Wow. So they had a pretty diverse musical palette.
They did.
The big question, though, what did it sound like?
Unfortunately, we don't have any recordings.
Ah, too bad.
But we can get some clues, from the instruments themselves, the scales they used,
Yeah.
descriptions in their texts.
So what do you think it sounded like?
It was probably modal.
Modal. What does that mean?
It means it focused more on melody and rhythm,
Less on.
harmony, like we're used to now.
So pretty different from the music we hear today.
Oh, definitely. It would have its own unique character, reflecting their culture and beliefs.
It's fun to imagine what those ancient melodies must have sounded like.
I know, echoing through the streets of Babylon.
But even though we can't hear it,
Yeah.
we can still appreciate how important music was to them.
It was a way to connect with the divine, express themselves, create community.
And that's something that's still true for us today.
It is. Music still has that power.
To move us, to connect
To
us.
transport us
It's like a reminder that even with all the differences,
between us and them across time and cultures.
some human experiences are just universal.
They are.
And music is one of those things that, like, bridges the gap.
Absolutely.
It's a testament to human creativity.
Yeah. And our need to understand and express our place in the world.
Well said.
Thanks.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of Babylonian religion and culture.
It's been a fun one.
We've explored their pantheon of gods, those epic tales,
Their innovations, their music.
and how this idea of cosmic order just, like, permeated their whole worldview
It's really fascinating how it shaped their society.
and inspired their achievements.
It's incredible how much we can still learn from them even today.
I know. Their story shows us the power of belief
The importance of order and balance.
and the human quest for meaning and connection that, we all share.
It's a timeless story.
It really is. And I hope this deep dive has made you curious to learn even more about this ancient civilization.
Me too. They were a remarkable people.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep listening to the deep dive.
We'll be back with more fascinating deep dives into history, science, and culture.
Until then, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.